Yate, Hatishpanana, Gutwitsi, Amerao Hopa. This is Amito Pacheco, uh, coming in from UNM, Native American Studies, and my field of study is Native American Studies, of course, but leadership. And in regards to the current affairs of Ferguson, Missouri, 1924, African Americans, blacks, Native Americans were citizens. We were identified as citizens, and this is complex because since 1924, we've had significant role models such as Martin Luther King. Uh, we've had Brother Huey Long, Malcolm X, um, etc., etc. In the Native American side, we've had the four founders of the American Indian movement, which started in the 1970s with Russell Means, Dennis Banks, Leonard Peltier, John Trudell. Since then, we lack leadership. In comparison and contrast, Ferguson, Missouri is rioting right now because of the death of one black man. And human life is very important. Uh, Needless to say, in Albuquerque, New Mexico, two Native American males were horrifically killed by cylinder blocks. And a peaceful demonstration was conducted in Albuquerque, and yet there was no leadership from the 23 sovereign tribes. Recently, it was 22, but because the Fort Sill Apache has joined or is claiming to buy or has bought land in New Mexico, the status has been upgraded to 23. So you have the 19 Pueblos, and then you have the Navajo, the Apaches, Muscalero and Hickory, and now you have Fort Sill Apache. So New Mexico is complex in terms of where where's all the moral support at? I mean, it's just shocking to know that we could that the that there was no representation from Native Americans during any kind of activity, and yet in Ferguson, Missouri, they're going hand over fist demonstrating about the inequalities in the human relationship with the social politics of justice. The Indian Civil Rights Act of 1963 was enacted to allow the Pan American, Native American um, civil rights. Of course, but in the state of New Mexico, most tribes, aside from the Apaches and Navajos, I'm talking mainly Pueblo, is divided into 8 northern Pueblos, which speak Tewa, and the 7 Carisan nations, which speak Caris, which include Santo Domingo, Cochiti, San Felipe, Santa Ana, um, Zia, and Laguna, as well as Acoma. So this is just right off the top of my head. So this is just mainly just a little conversation. And if there is for any reason at all any doubt, the doubt should be in the bibliography of your identity. Who, what, when, where, why, and how. Why do we want to suffer in silence? People go to school so that way they can change their system. And yet the hypocrisy of the system is that if you can't beat them, join them. I firmly stand by the radical issue of critical thinking. If a zebra was to be migrated into a herd of wild stallions, he will undoubtedly know that he is different. So, in retrospect, to bring to light the situation, one human life is worth a lot. Taken into international affairs, we haggle over one American life, and yet at the same time, Native Americans where are we at? We're on a reservation, fact. We are in the cities, fact. And we're fighting dual citizenship. We're the only race that really has to prove our identity. And so I'm here at the University of New Mexico, and behind me is a lot of literature regarding your identity, uh, your culture, federal recognition, which includes per capita, the Bureau of Indian Affairs, terms like Apple. Apple is a word which means red on the outside, white on the inside. The traditional cultural values, food, shelter, which basically can be summed up in four issues, just like the sacred directions, north, east, southwest. You have law, biology, self-identity, and culture. And these are the eyes of which are the windows to your soul, as mentioned by Joseph Campbell. So, what do you know about Native American identity? Was asked to me today. And what do Native Americans identify themselves with? Language is the bridge between the Siberian land bridge, per se, between here and there, the Pandora, the Mecca of your ingredients, which is blood, the DNA of who you are, what you think you are. So shall you think it, so shall you be it. So, the passive aggressiveness of the civil state of unrest in Ferguson, Missouri, is calling the bigwigs out. They want to resolve the issue, and with all due respect, it's it's a condition that reflects the old American values, such as slavery, such as the abuse of civil rights of the African American, and with all due respect, let's put Native Americans in there as well. Because in 1924 we share a decimal point in time that references inequality, and and the point of this message is leadership. We are lacking leadership as Native Americans. Sovereignty is a definition, is a four-part definition. It allows Native Americans to self-govern themselves within the Constitution of the United States, the Bill of Rights. We all have to know our rights. The first right is the most important right of all, and it's freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and the right to bear arms. And yet, the calamity is once you put those two together, it's very explosive. Prejudice and discrimination. The difference between them is one is a thought and the other is an action. So you have sleepers out there, people that are just waiting for the right moment to explode. And that's what's happening in Ferguson, Missouri. And so no matter how old this video becomes, it's still a fact. It happened. And what's still a fact is we're lacking leadership. So, in terms of how do you start and how do you finish, what can we do? We need to find the answer, which is a riddle, and to be able to resolve the unrest. Who will take command with the Native American billet? There's 566 federally recognized nations with 175 different dialects, and we all speak English. But if we couldn't get together back in 1492, then what makes us think we can do it now? So we had some serious issues beforehand, such as the logo, such as inequality in education. Why aren't Native Americans attending post-secondary education? I'm talking mainly males. The rehabilitation of ourselves, versus incarceration. You're looking at the future, and in order to look ahead, you also have to remember your history. This is Pacheco. just giving it a shot, speaking his mind, and catch you later.